Ben Cousins, the player. He joins us in the studio. Welcome, Ben.
Welcome, Jared, boys.
How's the injury? You hopefully will be playing a big game and a big opportunity on the weekend against the Weekend Hawks.
Yeah, huge game. I was devastated to miss out last week. I was talking it up as our mini grand final for us, but yeah, I'll train Thursday, and barring sort of not getting through that, I should be right for selection.
Tigers played like it was a grand final and yet fell away badly in the last quarter. As someone who has seen it all on the field as premiership player, what's the problem?
I think it's part of being a young side. I think if you look at most of our games this year, we've really fallen away in one quarter. That's really blown us out of the water. We've been competitive in a lot. You know, I think that's the next step as a developing side, is to string four quarters together, and it's not easy to do because the opposition are trying to do it themselves. So
we heard Benny Gale say that you were beaten up. You got a battle with injury. What about the other battle, your addiction? Is it a daily event for you to fight the demons?
It is. It's getting easier. I'm working through it. I've sort of got to keep my eye on it a little bit constantly, but you know, I'm making some real progress in that area.
Ben, you've been one of the great players of the modern era. You're at a club that's languishing at the bottom of the ladder, and you're clearly labouring. Why are you doing it?
Why am I playing?
Well, I mean, you've got the battle with your body, and you're only a shadow of the player that you were.
Yeah, I have had an interrupted start to the season. I think this time last year, most people would have said, you know, I had no chance of getting an extension on my contract. I went on and got some continuity in my training and playing, and I thought I played some reasonable footy. And I'm of the opinion that, barring any bad luck, I'll be able to play footy of the calibre I did last year, if not better, which I'm hoping will warrant a lengthy discussion about whether it's worth going on again next year.
But that's not the question Mike asked you. The question is, why are you playing?
Oh, I love the game. I'm really enjoying my footy. Contrary to what it may look like from an outside point of view, wins have been hard to come by. But I've got a real enjoyment out of seeing the development and helping fast-track the development of some of the younger players. And I think, deep down, wanted the opportunity to leave the game in a different way than, at the tail end of serving my 12-month suspension. And I've worked pretty hard to get myself into a position where I think that when I leave football, I'll be able to leave it with some dignity.
If it doesn't work out for you and you don't get the go-ahead next year or the year after, do you want to stay in touch with footy? Do you want to be involved in the game that's football?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to have an involvement, in some capacity. I'm not sure what that is. I've really enjoyed settling in at Richmond, and it's been a tough go on field, but I'd like to, in a playing capacity, see them get out of that tough period for as long as I can, and then if it was possible, I'd like to stay around the club and help out.
So what is it that you've got to offer if it was a non-playing situation? I mean, we don't hear a lot from Ben Cousins, and so a lot of us don't know. It's all perception and guesswork as to what sort of it is. A leadership sort of thing? Is it a definite coaching thing with an eye to the future in coaching senior football, or is it something in the background?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think at the moment there is a level of coaching aspect to my involvement at the footy club with the young guys.
Yep.
I've played a fair bit of footy now, and if you look at our list, it's really young, and there's a lot of raw talent there, and you can't just play the kids. You have to have a pretty balanced spread of young guys and old guys to fast-track the development. And I think on game day it helps those young guys to look around over your shoulder to see some experience through that group. I know myself as a young player, I walked taller as a young guy coming into that West Coast side when I had a Dean Kemp and a Guy McKenna, a Glenn Jakovich in my side, because you just knew that they were there. Yep. and they sort of settled the ship when times of unease.
Sounds to me, Ben, that despite what you just heard from Brendan Gale, and despite the fact that 80% of people in the football world, maybe higher, think that you're finished at the end of this season, that you actually are thinking of making a play-to-play on.
Yeah, absolutely. This time last year, no one in the football industry would have expected me to get an extension on my career. I've come to the club on a year-to-year basis. I'm happy to continue that, and I think it's a great way to play your footy. Every year as if it's your last, and almost every week as if it's your last week. Especially when you get into the tail end of your career, You know, I'm just really enjoying the games that I play.
Ben, a lot of people express concern about your welfare post-football. Are they worrying unnecessarily?
Oh, I think a little bit. I think it's easy to forget that the environment of the AFL industry is, you know, some of that is counterproductive to, or has been counterproductive to my recovery. You know, I'm under constant scrutiny from the media, speculation, at the mercy of a lot of rumours and innuendo, and I cop that, and I've had to. Not necessarily, you know, what's in my best interest. I've had the opportunity to get my life back on track, and people have got to remember too that I'm well into my second year away from that shitstorm. You know, I've stayed clean a lot longer than a long weekend.
But a lot of people say that those who should be experts say that once an addict for life. Do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, unfortunately. Be nice to wipe my hands of it, but you know, all the life experiences that I'm getting post rehab and what I've gone through are holding me in good stead for life after football. Sure, you know, I think the transition after footy is tough for all players. You know, I think most players find it pretty tough adjusting to, you know, it's been 15 years, it's been a huge part of my life. But, you know, I'm looking to tackle whatever it is, you know, with the same sort of devotion or application that I have put to my football career.
Is the testing, the drug testing at the moment, how often do you get tested, by the way?
Oh, 3 times a week.
Really?
Still get hair tested, so that puts a line through 3/4 of the rumours.
But are you comfortable with that? Is that a bit of a safety net for you? And are you worried about that when you leave footy, that won't be there, that testing?
Yeah, that'll take a little bit of adjusting. But yeah, I understand, you know, that's been a good safety net for us, but it's just held me in good stead for life after footy. Not everybody in my situation gets the luxury of having that, you know, from a work point of view, tested 3 times a week, and for me it's been a good thing, especially early on.
You mentioned the hair testing. I must say, I mean, you have my sympathy, and you've got the sympathy of a lot of people in football, but when you shaved your head at the time that the hair testing was talked about, I just couldn't understand your rationale. Why did you do that?
It's probably a lot harder to explain that in just a short question.
Was it a finger to...
Not in no way was it.
So it seemed like that?
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, there'll be an opportunity to talk about that, which you'll probably explain in a fair bit more detail. But that was probably one of the most trying, if not trying, 6 weeks of my 12 months off.
But surely it was a finger to authority.
No, it wasn't. It was.
Can you understand that it looked that way?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I had, at the time, rightly or wrongly, very little faith in the people that were going to make a decision on my future, being able to comprehend the results possibly of that test. I didn't think they were in a position to...
So was it going to be a positive test that showed you had taken drugs?
Well, not with the hair that I had on, no.
Right.
But, you know, obviously there were some concerns with it. And I felt that the AFL was out to get me. Now, that was just how I felt at the time. And that's probably been a little bit about why I haven't, right through this process, spoken publicly at the time, is because I probably wasn't equipped to. I was dealing with this, and to deal with it in a public forum is very, very difficult. So I'm able to now sit back and look back and probably see a lot easier where people like the AFL, the football clubs, were coming from when they didn't necessarily think that it was a fait accompli of me coming back to the game.
Ben, 3 years ago, Robert Wall sat in BT's chair and said that he thought the 2006 West Coast Premiership was tainted after the revelations of the drug use by yourself and other players at West Coast. What did you think of that?
I totally disagreed with it. Yeah,
Why?
I can only speak for myself. I have always not spoken about other players, so I can only speak for myself, but I can say categorically that the use of recreational drugs did not help play AFL football in any way. If anything, it made it a hell of a lot harder.
But we as laymen, I must say, I wonder whether they're performance enhancing, the stuff that you and 6 or 7 of the others allegedly were taking,
well, you should try it. You might be well equipped. You'd be well equipped to make that opinion.